It's me, Ali Babs. Hello. It's been a while. I'd like to keep this part of the video short, but as you can see, this video isn't like my usual videos. I'm trying something new, and if you'd like to see more of this, please like the video and leave a comment so I know. Oh, and spoiler warning if you haven't seen Skinamarink, you should go watch it on Shudder and form your own opinion about the movie. It's really good, go watch it. That's it, on to the video. Part 1. Marmite. Skinamarink is the Marmite of movies. Now, before I go into exactly what that means, I should probably explain to my non-British viewers what Marmite is. Marmite is a British savoury food spread based off of yeast extract. It was invented by the German scientist Justus von Liebig. I hope I got that right. It is made from the byproducts of beer brewing and is produced by the British company Unilever. Some would argue that it is a staple of British cuisine. Others would stab you if you show it to them. But that's Marmite's gimmick. Their slogan is literally, you'll love it or hate it. I like it a lot, but I wouldn't have it all the time. I went online to find some reviews of Marmite to give you an idea of what they mean. Paul A on Amazon said,
"This tastes like termite eggs. I tossed it in the trash after putting some on the corner of my bagel. It was horrible, and my 94-year-old mother said it will make her legs swell with the salt content. I have no idea how folks can love this. It was made by a German chemist. Frame that fact in your head. I could have sent it back. It wouldn't do that. It's in my trash bin. I'll stick to Nutella and Pisty."
And then a random Amazon reviewer said,
Marmite is wonderful. It has a very odd flavor like nothing I've ever tasted before. It has a wonderful aroma and it tastes wonderful on a piece of buttered toast. However, I found it's best when used for gravy. It makes a very rich gravy and is amazing on top of mashed potato. I would recommend tasting a very tiny amount on top of a plain cracker or toast so that the only flavor you really get is the Marmite. And it's really strong, so it's best to be used as an ingredient to give you a bizarre beef taste.
I hear what you're saying. I thought this video was about a horror movie. Why are you talking about sodding Marmite? Well, allow me to explain. Part 2. Skinamarink. Skinamarink is a 2022 experimental supernatural horror film, written and directed by Carl Edward Ball in his feature directorial debut. Before making this movie, Carl was known for his YouTube channel, Bite-Sized Nightmares. One of his biggest videos was a short film called Heck. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you do. I think it's pretty good. Many believe that the name Skinamarink is related to the child song of the same name. There was also a TV children's show from the late 90s called Skinamarink TV. So automatically we can tell that this film is connected to childhood and nostalgia. I'd like you to keep this in mind whilst I quickly talk about the movie. The first thing you'll notice about this movie is its unique camera use. It's somewhat akin to films like The Blair Witch Project or Paranormal Activity. Firstly, the quality is almost that of an old camcorder you'd use to film family movies, Red Dragon style. They're always almost still, static shots that are just filmed from a low angle, making the walls and ceiling seem so high up, just like how they would look when you were a child. You rarely see any faces, and most of the characters are facing away from the camera or just off screen. It kind of reminded me of like old cartoons like in Tom and Jerry, where you just never would see like the adult character's face, just like their neck down. I think this is what turned most people away from the movie. You're just looking at walls or darkness the whole time. I personally really like it, but not only is that something new, but the mix of the dark spaces, the video static, and just that dash of imagination, just a perfect recipe for some mind trickery. Was that a face right there? Or am I just seeing things? Hereditary and Midsummer did something similar by putting faces in the backgrounds and things like trees. I've always been a big fan of show, don't tell when it comes to TV and movies, and I think the film does this well, showing you just enough for your brain to put the pieces together by itself, kind of like when you read a book and the descriptive words form an image in your head despite that you're just looking at funny shapes on a page. The perfect example of this is at the start of the movie when we see our main character Kevin, a 4-year-old boy, sleepwalk then fall down the stairs and hurt himself. In most movies this would be accomplished differently. They would show you a long shot of the stairs followed by a shot of our character sleepwalking, and as your brain puts 1 and 2 together, the tense music starts playing. The character slowly walks to their fate, maybe a frightful sting will play as they take their tumble, the camera following them as they roll down each and every step before panning back as our character is lying on the bottom of the stairs. But not Skinamarink. All that is shown is a few short flashes and it's over within seconds. It's almost like when you try and remember something from your childhood when you're an adult, it's just flashes and pictures. Another point to make is Skinamarink doesn't really have any music aside from what comes out of the TV, adding that tension and almost realism. The reason I think this movie works as well as it does is the effective horror it uses. It doesn't just shove jump scares down your throat like an Annabelle movie, nor is it this slow, terrifying burn of horrific atmosphere like Hereditary. Although Skinamarink uses the best of both of those worlds, it taps into the horror and fear that you felt as a kid. The kind of fear that you forgot was there. The kind of fear that when you saw something in the dark when you're lying in bed, or when you lose your mum in the middle of Tesco's and you have to talk to the lady in the till, who then just uses the tannoy to make an announcement, "Come get Alex from aisle 3, and then when she gets there she's all mad and you're like, "You're the one who left me in the frozen veg section, mum," and she's all like, "You're 23, you should have just used your phone." Sorry about that. What I'm trying to say is the camera, the angles, the cuts, the cartoons and toys, all of these things, they're purposely used so they can put you in that childlike state and feed on your fears like the scream canisters from Monsters Inc. It's very open-ended and is open for interpretation. Matt Pat from Film Theory says that the movie takes place in a tumor-induced coma after Kevin falls down the stairs. Wendy Goon says a demon the mother let entrap the children in a time loop to torture them for possibly forever. I personally think the film is about childhood and losing that part of you through things that force you to grow up, things like abuse and divorce. But this isn't a theory video. This is a video talking about Skinamarink's Marmiteness.
What's your name?
I'm Felix the Cat. Who are you?
I'm Old King Cole, the merry old soul, and not afraid of anything.
Not even lightning?
Not even lightning.
Part 3. Conclusion. Did you know the word Marmite is actually French for casserole dish? Me neither. When I watched this film, I loved it, beginning to end. Then I had watched Wendigoon's video, who also expressed his love for it. Matt Pat too. But when I told my friend who is into horror movies, especially unique ones, he did, and when he came back to me, to my surprise, they said they didn't like it. As did a few other people I spoke to who had also watched it, calling it boring or uneventful. Here's some reviews I found online on it. Brian on Google says,
"Quite literally one of the worst movies I have ever watched. Over 100 minutes of nothing. I was so glad when it ended. I get that it's trying to be experimental, but the movie literally is nothing but underexposed grainy film with odd defocused camera angles and muffled noises that leave you nothing to look at, nothing to listen to, no actual story, and no characters to care about."
Marion on Google says,
I've recommended this to everyone who likes horror and innovative techniques. This is an experimental horror movie. The movie uses color, sound, and tunnel vision to invoke anxiety and paranoia. They show you glimpses of darkness to disorient you, and eventually they give you enough information to understand where you are in the house. The creators produce an extremely artistic vision. One of my favorite horror movies of all time.
It's like, for every Marmite is too salty, you'll get a Skinamarink is too artsy. For every Skinamarink is boring, you'll find a Marmite is too bitter. But now and then you'll find a Skinamarink is Toast's best friend and Marmite is the scariest movie of all time. I'm not saying the movie's perfect, just as I don't eat Marmite all the time. I wouldn't want to watch too many movies try and copy its formula because it would grow stale quickly, just like it did with the found footage era of horrors. I do like it a lot. It's a nice little treat that you wouldn't get anywhere else. Love it or hate it, you have to appreciate what Carl made. With a budget of only $15,000, he did a phenomenal job. To put that into perspective, Space Jam 2 had a $150 million USD budget, and that was a huge pile of shit. But that's a different video for a different day. But imagine what this director could do with a bigger budget. I would love to see him get picked up by Blumhouse or A24 and really make some magic. Either way, I'm going to be keeping my eye on this guy. If you have made it to this part of the video, I just want to say thank you for watching. I know this is a different step in the direction I normally go for, but I really wanted to try my hand at something new. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing and let me know what you thought about the video in the comments below. While you're at it, why don't you recommend what I should talk about next? I might just do it. Until then, I'll catch you later. Bye!
Cole.
That's Felix the cat.